What's up, makers? Christian here from Tumbly House Creative for the K&G Master It tier. We're going to be going over some advanced training on Nano Banana, now folded into regular old Gemini, but still referenced by a banana. We're going to be covering Beyond the Basics, No More Gamble Edition. Next level banana training. So from our first slide here, those of you that were at the K&G Jamboree, you may remember our model that we ended up over the period of a couple actual courses modifying her, and she ended up with some fire and dinosaurs. Today, she is representing a nano banana art on her repeatable, reusable cutting board. So this is going to probably end up being another training on like how we can modify her and reuse her. But again, this is one of those actual assets that we made way back at the Jamboree, and I'm still able to use for online presentations, trainings, and marketing. So let's just jump right in. First, we're going to be talking about why the simple, old school, basic banana. So this is the interface that you're used to right now, available through Google Gemini. So with its new version of 2.5 Flash, and there's also the high-speed Pro version, but again, same sort of thing. If you switch it to go to image, you see the banana. And this works fine. This is great if you're working on one image, something kind of simple, not an advanced sort of thing, right? One image at a time, lack of overall mode for batch. Small projects, this is great. Single image, advanced prompt, you'll still receive the same results. The reason we talk about the casino and gambling is that a lot of times that's what happens with our prompts, right? If you're not being specific and you're not providing the model specific clarity, you're just rolling the dice. And what happens with that is you're leaving a lot up to chance. You are not being specific. You are not saying, this is what I want. So it's like assigning somebody a job and then just assuming that they understand exactly what it is that you want. That's why it's important to have a scope and to provide clarity into the actual process. So the same with AI. You have to know how to speak to it, and more specifically, you have to know how to prompt. And that's what we're going to run through today. What happens is, like a lot of times as you're learning, you're going to start with like what I like to refer to as simplistic roll the dice prompts. Sometimes, though, this is what you have to do because you honestly might not know exactly what you want. You may have a vague idea, and then you're hoping that the AI fills in the blanks for you, and then as a result shows you something that then you can get more specific on. That's okay, but that's not ideal. So some examples that we'll just run through here. Make something cool. Same thing when you're asking for, I want a fun vibe. You might have an idea of what that is in your head, but the AI has no clue. It's looking at you like, what? So you need to be specific. Also, if you ask for things that don't relate, realistic but super cartoonish underwater space castle, that is so non-specific, and it's two separate things. You want a realistic but cartoonish, and you want an underwater space castle. Think about what you want. It's okay to ask for things that don't exist in reality, but it's important to have all of those things relate. If you want an underwater space castle, that's fine, but make sure that the supporting things that you're asking for relate into it. A lot of times I'll see folks say, fix this photo, or this photo's not looking right. This image is bad. What specifically is wrong with it? What is it that you want changed? What's bad? Or, overloaded. Remove the background, add fireworks, switch the pose, make vintage. That's fine if you want all those things, but generally stop at three. Ideally, one to two, three asks is okay, but you need to be hyper specific, ultra clear in your ask. You need to make sure that you're not just overloading, because then what will happen is then the AI will do some of it, or what it'll try to do is it'll try to do everything for you, but then kind of merge it, and then you're going to get something really funky and not something funky in like an awesome way. Adding a person in with no reference surprised me with something amazing. Again, sometimes some of these loose things roll the dice that are considered high gamble are okay if you're not sure. Generally speaking, you have an idea of what you want. Now let's look at some real examples of what happens when you roll the dice. Here is an example of a gamble prompt. A woman at a Christmas party holding a festive sign. Make it cheerful. So if you look at this, you're thinking, hey, this looks pretty good. It is a woman at a holiday party holding a sign and she's happy. But again, if you're a laser maker, laser crafter, trying to make something that you can utilize for marketing, why this isn't good. The sign's not laser cut. This is obviously painted, possibly vinyl, possibly Cricut. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but again, we're just looking here at single layer. No layered 3D wood detail. Product doesn't look handmade or high quality. The woman here looks good. She might fit an ad for a party, but not for a maker brand. No focus on specific home decor. This setting emphasizes people. Yes, she is the focus because she's holding a sign. She's here centered. She has the visual focus, but you can already start to see that you provided something vague. AI helped you and then provided you with an image. But if the AI is not aware of the actual purpose, you get something that looks pretty, not profitable. So it's important that the AI always understand your purpose so that way you can receive something, not something generic. Now, what we want to focus is on the farm to table organic banana. So what is that? That's like, think of it like your super uber high quality banana, the best banana that you've ever tasted. And the way that you receive that is with good prompting. Okay. Good prompts equal guided results. So, what exactly is that? How do you do that? Clear direction equals consistent outcomes. Specific subject plus an action. Laser cut ornament on a rustic table. So, if you just said a laser cut ornament on the floor, on a table, on a counter, that might look good, but again, you're allowing the AI to make the decision for you. Think of it like you have unlimited money and then you're hiring a professional photographer and you're hiring a professional crew that shoots videos. So then think of it like that. If I had unlimited money, what would be the most awesome thing that I could do to showcase my product? You may not have that view or that vision. That's okay. But start to think in specifics of like what would look really good for this. Another example, define setting plus mood, warm morning sunlight through a window, lighting plus the specific cues for the camera, shallow depth of field. So that's that like short focus where the thing that you're looking at is in focus, everything behind it is out of focus. 85 millimeter lens, right? So what that is that's specifics about the camera. You don't always have to be that specific, but it certainly helps. You can specify any style or any type of lens on an actual camera, and then that will provide you with that shot. Realism plus quality modifiers, accurate reflections, natural skin tones, one clear goal per prompt, enhance product clarity only. So you could already see here that you could chain all of these together, and then that's going to give you your super awesome prompt. I need an image of a laser cut ornament on a rustic table with warm morning sunlight through a window. Shallow depth of field, film camera look, 85 millimeter lens, accurate reflections, natural skin tones. So this would be if you're adding a person. So like say the person's holding the ornament, and then keep focus on the laser cut ornament, right? So like you're being specific, you're drilling in and drilling down to what it is that you want the AI to focus on for you. So that's a lot of information. You're thinking, okay, I have to have all this in notes. I have to remember specific subject and action. No, I broke it down for you to make it easy. Top secret formula: subject, action, environment, art style, lighting, details. So, smiling woman in a stylish holiday attire holding a wooden laser cut 3D layered sign at a cozy holiday party, warmly lit with twinkling string lights and a decorated tree in the background. Photorealistic lifestyle ad style with shallow depth of field. She's in focus, everything else is slightly out of focus. Layered wood texture and precise laser cut edges. Vibrant colors and natural skin tones showcasing how premium decor elevates the celebration. So we see here, subject, a smiling woman in stylish holiday attire. So this is being specific, but also slightly vague. If I wanted, I could have said in a red top, red jacket, in a green dress. So you could be as specific as you want, but we are allowing the AI here to make its own interpretation of what stylish holiday attire is. What is the action? Holding a wooden laser cut 3D layered sign. Environment: at a cozy holiday party. Art style: warmly lit, twinkling string lights, and a decorated tree in the background. So then that's lighting and also art style because we're saying photo realistic lifestyle ad with shallow depth of field. So you can see how this prompt, part of our secret formula here, subject, action, environment, art style, lighting, details. If you put these things into your prompt, you're going to get a great image. Now, let's pause a moment and look at the image. Initially, you're just seeing this, hey, this looks really good. But if you've been looking at the two images, you'll notice they're similar but different. Let's zoom in. So if we zoom in here, you can see that her face looks absolutely flawless. Look at her skin. No wrinkles, no real lines. She's smiling. This is accurate. You got a little bit of lines around her eyes, indicating that she is happy. She is smiling, but this looks very fake. So what's important is if you're using AI images for marketing, you want to make sure that the resulting image looks real, especially if you're trying to convey truthful, realistic human emotion. This is not a real file, but this certainly is something that you absolutely could make. So this is actually pretty cool. Lots of layers, but she looks very fake. So what I do with all of my images for myself and for my actual clients is I upscale them. So now if we move over, look at this. Sharp eyes, natural human face, not flawless skin, slight imperfections, some wrinkles, some actual pores because she has skin. It's not perfect, but it looks more real. So then if we zoom out, you can see here, right? This is very soft. Looks good. This is sharper, but has natural detail. Obviously, on your ads and stuff, folks won't zoom in like this, but I want you to see what happens is like this is just something standard out of AI. And then this is the same image, but then upscaled, adding some extra detail. So one thing that you could do is you absolutely could upscale this image, sharpen it, and then she'll look more in focus, but she's still going to look plastic. So unless that's what you're looking for, unless that's your end goal, I always want to try to make what comes out of AI as realistically human as possible, unless, of course, I'm looking for something else. Okay, so hopefully this all makes sense. There's actually a lot of softwares out there that are AI image upscalers. I will share some links so that way you can experiment around. Also, inside of actual Photoshop too, they've got pretty good ways that you can do the upscale. Okay, now mixed board. This is something that I'm super excited about. So, what's great about mixed board is this allows you to expand beyond that simple banana where you're just doing one image at a time. So you can see the banana. This is something from labs from Nano Banana. So it's linked and it is integrated. So let's jump in. Now, let me show you through one of the examples. Welcome to the nut house. This is the example that I used. So here was our original image from the K&G website. So this is the sign that they made. They actually photographed it, have it on a stand. Now, possibly this could be AI, could be Photoshop, but end of the day, this is what I started with. Now, what you can see here is we've got multiple images. Now, what's great is then I used a prompt right here asking it to show me this sign on various outdoor doors. So let's look at a door. This is nice. This is very clean. This may not look like your neighborhood. This may not look like who you actually sell to. Maybe homes in your area, they don't look like this. Maybe they look like this. Maybe they look like this. So I explicitly asked it for various doors. Also, too, what you will see a lot of is just that singular front door. You see one front door, you see a sign hanging on the front door. That's really not much improved over just showing the sign on its own. Sign on a stand, sign on a door. What if you can start to showcase your signs hanging in other areas? Maybe this is on like the side of a shed, small barn, pool house, anything other than a front door, because really what you want to explicitly convey is that your signs look great anywhere. So then I started to ask it, just, asking it to show me on various surfaces that look visually interesting. How about this? There's a front door, but it's not straight on, and it's hanging next to the front door. How about home decor? Let's have those options too. We can ask for that. So then we can get more images out of it, showing it inside of a house. This to me looks kind of fake, but it's more the idea of how this could look inside of a home. Here's another one that I really like, using this same kind of idea from here, hanging not next to a door, but next to a window. Maybe the front door is like over here somewhere. But again, this is just something that's visually interesting to show people, because the goal of all of this is to stop the scroll. You've got 3 seconds to capture attention before somebody scrolls and moves on. So that's one of the things we're trying to do here is we're trying to make this as easy as possible for folks to stop and look and go, oh, wow, look, cool. Then you have something on here that then instructs them of what you're looking to do. Like, hey, if you like this sign, here's where you can see it. Here's how to order. Like, there's a lot of different things, right? So really, that's just the main goal. This is also pretty cool too. More outdoor options. So here's a great example of something that you could set up outside, right? Because this is with squirrels. Squirrels are in nature. More home decor out back on an actual porch. This is also nice too. So it's outdoors on a wall, lit, all different kind of spaces. This is great for the B2B market. Outdoor patios, gardens, lots of options. One thing that I made that I will be using for an ad is then I went extreme. Welcome to the nut house. I leaned into the insanity of the squirrels. These squirrels got makeshift weapons. He's holding 2 sticks. He's serious. So this is a great example of like, yes, you can get extreme, but I 100% can assure that this for an ad with on-screen actual content, I'll share it. But this will make people stop and look at it at least for a few seconds because you've got all this extra detail in here. These squirrels are crazed. We're beyond the nut house. We're like insanity. Lock your doors. These squirrels are coming. But this is great for Halloween. This is an awesome showcase for this sign. And again, if you look at the visual focus, all of this is here, all the lighting, all the main focus is on this sign. That's because this is using a very carefully scripted prompt that we used to keep the focus, keep the highlight on this sign. Now, if you wanted to see more examples, the way that you use this is you just select one image. So you can see here, this is selected. And then we're just adding in here. We're going to say, show me 3 more examples of different walls that this sign can hang on. And unlike your old school banana in Mixboard, you can ask for multiple outputs. So I said 3. This easily could have been 5, could have been more. Now, one thing that I did not specify is I said, just show me more of these walls. I did not specify keep the sign the same. So you can see here that by me being lazy, I've got some pretty awesome walls and pretty cool surfaces, but I've got a reimagined sign. So that's not what we want. So let's try that again. So now let's select that same sign on the same wall. And we're going to say, keeping the sign the same, making no changes to it. Show me 4 more walls that are visually interesting that the sign would hang on. So now we just asked for 4 more examples, and we were being specific that we did not want the sign to change. Now the sign changed again, but we've got some great surfaces. Sometimes this happens with Nano Banana. There's high usage, and sometimes you just have to re-roll. But that process is accurate in that you just have to be specific and ask it to not make changes. We're going to say place the sign on 3 more walls that are visually interesting, keeping the sign exactly the same as in the source image. Also, what's important to know is while this is a great tool, this is not a replacement for any other AI. So using something like your existing AIs, you would still want to continue doing so because this is just a tool within the AI toolkit. So use your chat GPT. In fact, I've got a specific prompter that works great for helping you hit that secret formula each and every time. So now let's see what happens. This could just be hitting one of those, issues, even though I was pretty explicit where I said, do not change the sign. And here we go. So we just had to be very, very specific. So I think this looks pretty cool. This maintains that sign as it was, as it is. And now I've got more surfaces, more walls, right? Something other than a front door. So like, for example, for my post, I may show a couple images because obviously that's the smart thing to do, like an image actual carousel ad, right? Or just actual carousel post. So like you could show this, you could show this, and then maybe show this one or this one, right? Things that slightly relate. Or maybe you would want to do this one, and then a regular front door. What's amazing about Mixboard is multiple results from a singular prompt. And that was, again, a perfect example. What happens when you're lazy? The AI chooses the result for you. I had to be beyond explicit, saying use the sign in the reference image, not modifying it. And then I asked for it, and then I got the results that I was looking for. Okay, so that's Mixboard from a high level. Same thing for prompting, except the power of this is you can also select multiple images. So we could select these. Now they're all grouped. To do that, you just drag over them. And then we could say, show me 3 more like this. Now that is a very generic roll the dice prompt. However, I'm referencing now 4 images saying, show me some more that are like this. And look what happened. We've got visual interest. This is pretty cool. We're seeing like the hard sun, but again, it just did not like our original sign. So this is just, again, a great example of what happens when you're not being specific. Okay, now let's hop in and take a look at specifically what can Nano Banana do in here inside of Mixboard or just from your regular prompt. Let's take a look at the showcase. Our hero image here. This was created in Nano Banana using a prompt that came from ChatGPT. So if we take a look at the prompt, create an explosive, high energy promotional image featuring bold dynamic text that reads, showcasing Nano Banana vibrant neon. So you can see the secret formula here, right? We're being beyond explicit about what it is, where the action is, the lighting, how this is framed, the special effects, the visual effects, the cinematography. So this is our prompt to create this because I had an idea of what I wanted. Now, if I didn't, I could have been super vague and then just asked for something rough, and then I would have received this. So hopefully that makes sense. The power of Nano Banana is you can even do a lay flat. So like if you have an image of a model, you could say, show the woman wearing the outfit, right? So like you could see some clothes, and then you could then add another photo of a person and then say, show them in this outfit. And then you can see that you have the scarf, the shirt, the shoes, the shorts, and the purse. So the outfit's complete. This is great when you're trying to create marketing to target your specific individual customer avatar that you're looking to sell to. So if you have an idea of like what that individual looks like, you can explicitly create an AI version of your customer avatar that you can use in your marketing ad that will have that same look and that same feel. But again, remember, if this is what you will use, we've got great image, but again, not super awesome quality. Like here, it's so low quality, you would definitely want to, upscale that. Now, if you want to do the opposite, so you've got this photo here, you want to get a lay flat image of all of these things that he's wearing. So here's our prompt. Flat lay pick for his exact clothes. Only lay flat what you see. So again, we're referencing this style here of the look, how to get the look. And we're saying only lay flat what you see, no text. So we're also being explicit about what we don't want. So again, these are just great, powerful things. Now here's an example that I updated. That's me. This was a video that I shot for Lowe's as a Lowe's creator. I had to make a video. Now, say for example, at the end of that, I wanted to wear a Supreme shirt because I wanted to look more streetwear. That's not what happened. But if I did, the prompt, replace the green shirt the man is wearing with the white t-shirt that has the Supreme logo on it. So again, this source image with the t-shirt with the output. Now notice I started with a vertical image, then I ended up with a horizontal. Nano Banana will utilize the last image in the chain. So even though I am in this setup here, vertical, I put in a widescreen or horizontal shirt image that then resulted in this. Even if it's completely off size, if I wanted to maintain this aspect ratio, I should have put the shirt in a vertical format and then I would have had the result. This though looks pretty good because you can see like all the folds, all the wrinkles are here on the shirt and it has the logo exact. Again though, look at the quality. The quality is not great because this is zoomed in even at this actual resolution. So if I were going to try to use this, I would want to upscale it. Okay, enough about clothes. We can look at old images that are in black and white, add colors, and then fix wear and tear. So you can see this is an old black and white image. We then just said, restore this picture with colors. And then boom, we've got a stunning result. This could also be very visually interesting. We could add a modifier that says only put the woman in color, leave the rest of the image black and white. So again, these are the types of things that you can do inside of the Nano Banana, now Gemini Flash. Really powerful. How about combining multiple images? A lot of you may remember this meme, which is, pretty funny. Then say we've got an image of a cute dog. We can now combine, put the dog in the disaster girl meme. And now we've got this dog making kind of a similar expression, which we just luckily got. But again, this is a great composite. And then if we compare the image, this is the same image, same details, really high quality. So you can already think about it, like if you had individual components for a sign, you could then, add them into another sign. You could then reverse that as you saw up here. So just think about how each one of these features you can utilize and you can stack. What about making on-brand ads with text? So obviously things like Nike, Reebok, well-known brands, you can just use actual text, create a Nike ad with this image with ad copy from text. And you can see here with just a pretty simplistic prompt and source, you have something that looks and feels like an ad. Obviously, copyright. This is not something that I would recommend doing, but again, this is just like a feature of something that if you needed like a mock-up or a version of something, this is a pretty easy way that you can actively do it. How about combining a collage into a coherent image? This is a mood board where you've got all different things, right? So you've got all components of an outfit. Now, if you look at this prompt, again, this is not a vague prompt. We're following the secret formula. Model is posing, leaning against the pink BMW. So we have the model leaning against the pink BMW. She's wearing the following items. The scene is against a light gray background. The green alien is a keychain. So again, we're being hyper specific about what is being worn and where, and it's attached to the pink handbag. Here's the bag, here's the alien. We're saying that this alien is actually a keychain. And then if you see here in the source or in the resulting composite, the alien is a keychain attached to the pink bag. The model also has a pink parrot on her shoulder. So again, it's following this. There's a pug sitting next to her wearing a pink collar and gold headphones. So again, you can supply multiple images. The way that you circumvent that 3 to 4 images max is you put all of them on one image. So you make the collage, save it, upload that, and then have that hyper specific prompt following your secret formula, and then you get a pretty cool result. Now, if we want to get another perspective, this is again for a house. So we have this pretty cool photo of a house, create an isometric view during the day. And then you see here we have the same house with a completely separate layout. Now, Ingrid created, so I'm going to showcase some of her work. She's been using AI for marketing. She created these images for a roll the Santa, roll the reindeer make, right? So it's all laser cut. They can paint it, they can make it. So again, one of the things that we want to point out is this looks great, but this looks like very styled, not like a, home shoot. But if we wanted to expand upon this, just like we did with the actual building, we could use a prompt asking for multiple angles. Give me different angles of these shots, some over the shoulder, some above. So I have a selection like these were from a photo shoot. Keep the boy and girl the same, don't change appearances. So again, same kids, same outfits, same project, but again, this is great. Roll a Santa, right? And it's showing them working on their specific project, but a top-down view. Now, you could keep asking for other angles. Show over the shoulder of the boy, show over the shoulder of her, right? Like you can keep going. So again, this is like an example of like, unless you're selling homes or like, actual property, maybe this for the actual building won't be as useful, but think about it for any other photograph. Same for this too, right? Like if we wanted, we could say, show me an aerial view of this shot with her looking up, right? So like we can get multiple angles of any shot. Simple logos. Here you can see the prompts too. So you can see these prompts that were used to make these images. These are also pretty much line art, which could be easily traced, and then you could switch them into something that you could laser cut. How about if you only have selfies and you need a professional photo? Here's something that I was able to make. So I took selfies that I have here. Actually, this was not a selfie, but this was, I think. But end of the day, photos of you, and then we use the prompt using all the images. They are all the same person. Make a studio quality headshot portrait of the person. Then we're adding that is clean shaven, black and white. So here I shaved, here I need to shave. And then using these 2 images, I've got a professional black and white headshot. Now, again, this looks great. All of you might be thinking, wow, that's amazing. But again, I've got good skin, but my skin's not that good. So again, if we wanted to make that more realistic, same thing here. Again, now this looks way more real. My eyes look way better. My skin looks more realistic. It's very nice still. And like it looks like I might be on my way to needing another shave. But again, you can see how this looks very AI on the left, whereas this still looks maybe a little AI, but more realistic, more like me from these images, which was actually spread out over the course of, I think, about a year. So again, these are great, great options too of things you can do. Now, reuse a single model. Here we have Mr. Beast, right? So we have like a photo of him. So if we wanted to put him into another scene, we just have a simple prompt, remove the background. So now he's like that. Now we can use drawing poses to pose him any way we want. Make the model pose like the sketch. These you can search online, and there are hundreds, thousands of them. Any reference. This could also be a stick person in a pose. And if you look, he is exactly like this pose. And we have more here too. And just simple prompt here because we're being explicit through our reference image, right? So that's, I would say, the one thing that you could change is that if you're not following the secret formula, if your reference is so clean and so clear and so obvious, you can use a simple prompt like make the model pose like the sketch. This works because you could say the man model. You could reference them a few different ways. And then you can see all of these poses. So now also, again, similar to the other thing, if you had this image, you could have a prompt that says, show me from a top down. But again, this is our drawing here, which is a top down image. And like, this is just amazing. This for me was like, wow, this is like these capabilities that you now have access to. See, and then the hand even too, right? Where it's like showing the hand. The angle of the head here might be a little off, but I mean, this is pretty on the money. Now, you can make even thumbnails. So what I did is I used my image from up here. Sorry if I'm making anybody sick. So I used this image as a reference, me with the Supreme shirt, and I needed a YouTube thumbnail. So check this out. Help me make a prompt for creating a YouTube thumbnail where I'm talking about Nano banana in the style of Mr. Beast. And look at this ridiculousness. This is ridiculous. I got the Supreme Nano banana costume that I am wearing, but then you could bring this into our other program, Mixboard, and then you could ask for varying versions. So to kind of show you what we did there, we can jump out and look at some examples for Kim and Garrett. Let's go in here. We took their source from their video of Nano Banana and then made some other versions. This one actually might not load, but all right, check these out. So we started off here. This is what they had to start. And then we just highlighted it and again, just asked for more versions. So this was able to keep them looking pretty much the same expression, generally same hands, and it just changed everything. So like these all could work. So then just for fun, we made some more. Now, what if we go crazy on purpose? So used a prompt that said from the Civil War. So like look at some of these. Grand Discovery of 63. Visit Mr. Henderson's Emporium. General Goods. We got like a line art, always with the hat, but wearing like the old military. She's got on like a skirt. And then we also said Civil War in the jungle. So like we just threw in randomness. So we have like new field ration, the Southern Secret. Now look, he's got the whole outfit on, Garrett does. She's still wearing her shirt, but then has on this belt. So like you can see that like it can push pretty far. A Treaty of Taste. So now we're into some formal wear. So she's representing the shirt, but it's got like a formal gown on. He's got like this neat actual tuxedo, still rocking the hat. So these are just some crazy examples, but again, super accurate, maintaining their look of their actual faces, but then changing their clothes. we could then also, edit this to say like put him in a specific type of hat, put her in a specific type of, outfit. But these are just more examples that you can run generating multiple versions of them. Hopefully that was helpful. That wraps up. Today you learned how to go from the simple banana to the farm to table direct organic, utilizing custom prompting, using our secret formula that will show again subject, action, environment, art style, lighting, details. You learned how to take your resulting image and then look at options to upscale them to make the result look more realistic. And next, we'll be talking about image prompting with ChatGPT. Again, my name's Christian. Hopefully, this was helpful. If you have any questions about any of this content, I know it was a lot. Reach out on the socials, here to help. Looking forward to the next time. Have a good one, everybody. Talk to you later.